Welcome back to Crime Scene, or hello if you're new here. Today I want to talk about possible motives in the Nanette Ellis case, and make sure you stay to the end because I need your help on this one. First, as always, the disclaimer. Please note that any statements or opinions expressed here are purely speculative and are not intended to accuse any individual or entity of wrongdoing. Unless otherwise stated as fact, the information provided reflects personal observations or hypotheses. Any conclusions drawn from this content should be viewed in this context. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe so we can get this video out to as many people as we possibly can, in the hope that they have that missing piece that will solve this case once and for all. Now, with everything we've talked about so far with the murder of Nanette Ellis, we've talked about the how, the possible who. We've never talked about the why. We know that M, who was Nanette's close friend, and Nanette had spent the night together in the week leading up to the murder, and they had apparently, according to M of course, talked about who could possibly have a reason to do this, and they weren't able to come up with anything. I have heard nothing but nice things about Nanette. Of course, I didn't know her personally, but I have heard nothing but nice things. Nobody at all has had a bad word to say about her. By all accounts, she seems to have been a normal divorced mother of two, going about her daily business like normal people do. There doesn't seem to be any connection with drugs or criminal activity of any kind. There was some speculation that maybe she was seeing someone, but the police were never able to find anything to suggest that there was a man in her life, and nobody she knew thought she was seeing anyone. And the fact that she was sleeping in a single bed doesn't scream sexually active to me. There doesn't always have to be a why, of course. That's what bothered me about that movie True Crime with Alicia Silverstone and Kevin Dillon. Have you seen that? At the end, she asks why, and he says there doesn't always have to be a why. That's not the exact quote, but that's just me just off the top of my head. But that's always really stuck with me because I need the why. Now, if it's a serial killer, the why is that they just love to kill. If it was someone with mental problems, then their why is that they have mental problems. But I think that we've already established that the killer was somebody that Nanette knew. Police think that it was somebody who slipped in the front door while she was unpacking the car. I don't believe that at all. I think she would have noticed, especially because she was probably being very extra cautious because she was so scared. And why would this person sneak right past her, go in the front door, leave the weapons by the door, go into the end bedroom, which was right on the other side of the house, and wait for her there? Why wouldn't he just stab her in the back a couple of times while she was at the car and then run off? Didn't even need to go into the house and leave his DNA all over it. Or if he did want to avoid someone seeing him outside, why not wait in the lounge room or the kitchen? It just doesn't make sense, so no, I don't believe this theory. Was it someone who broke in earlier in the day and waited for her to get home? I don't believe this one either because Craig was home all day and then Greg came home after school. Both of them were in and out of the house. I think that would have been very risky to do that. Also, if you're hiding in the house waiting to kill someone, what happens if they come home with a whole group of people? There's nothing to say that she would have come home alone, especially because of what had been happening to her lately. And if she did come home with a whole bunch of people who stayed at the house and maybe stayed the night, then you're stuck in there in somebody else's house with a group of people who might beat you to death when they find you. So no, I don't believe that one either. So it had to be someone she knew. Also, because of the dog, I always forget the dog. Wouldn't the dog have alerted Nanette to the fact that a stranger was in the house? Nope, I thoroughly believe that it was someone she knew. And if it was someone she knew, there has to be a motive, even if we can't see it right now. I also just realised that her wounds were all to the neck. Apart from the one in her head, of course, which probably happened when she was on the ground fighting. But the major ones were both in her neck, on both sides of her neck. Were they deliberately going for the neck? To make sure she was definitely dead, or to stop her from screaming, or maybe both? I just thought of that when I said, why didn't he just stab her in the back while she was at the car? Because I think if I was going to stab someone, I think I'd stab them in the back. Maybe that would make me a less efficient killer, but then why was this killer so efficient? Anyway, let's not get off course. Motive. If it was someone she knew, there had to be a reason. I'm going to do a video about the various suspects and what the motives may have been for each of them. So I don't want to mention them here right now, but every time I do a video, someone mentions something important in the comments. So I don't want to do the video, then have someone say something that could have been put in it. So I'm asking now instead. What do you think could have been a possible motive, keeping in mind that we do believe it was someone that Nanette knew? And also making sure you don't get sued at the same time. And just one more thing before I go, I keep forgetting to mention this. Someone wrote to me a while ago and said that they heard that after the last vandalism incident on Nanette's car, that she had been putting it in a neighbour's garage. This person was wondering why Craig would leave his classic Holden that he was fixing up in the driveway. He must have been pretty sure that no one would touch it. Why is that? Something to think about while you're giving me possible motives. Okay, so don't forget to like, share and subscribe, leave your motives in the comments, and have a great day.